Welcome back to the channel. We're smoking on my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking, and I am all over the place right now. I'm looking at my necklace, and hold on, let me get it right. Yep, we got that dragon looking right at you. Shout out to all my dragons out there. But today we got how to build a medieval castle. Shout out to First Doublet. This was definitely a recommendation from First Doublet. Yeah, First Doublet, shout out to you, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Definitely gonna keep knocking down your recommendations. They may not come as quick due to just so much other things going on, but you are definitely a valued member of this channel, so I definitely take you serious. But with that being said, let's get into this. Original link in the description. Here we go.
I certainly never thought I'd end up in a quarry for Europe to the max. But here, dozens of craftsmen and workers are building a castle from the Middle Ages. Blacksmiths, stone crushers, carpenters, stonemasons, rope makers, bricklayers, and roof tilers. And they're only using the materials and technology from that era. And today I'm one of them, building a castle.
The Château de Guédelon is Europe's biggest medieval castle reconstruction project. It's located about 200 kilometers south of Paris, France, near the village of Trény in the Burgundy region. The idea is to reproduce a slice of life in the 13th century. The castle never actually existed before. This is a modern-day medieval-style building on a 70,000 square meter site. The plan took shape in the mid-1990s. A group of architects, historians and archaeologists came together to find out what building a real castle in the Middle Ages involved. They raised the needed funds and began. Marilyn Martin has supervised the project since the first stone was laid in 1997.
It's a castle in the style of King Philip Augustus of France, like the Louvre in Paris. It has a tower for the lords of the castle, a living area and several turrets. The castle is designed so it's very difficult to attack and conquer it. It's a small castle, and the social status of its owner would be relatively low. Altogether, including the family, the staff, and the soldiers, no more than 15 to 20 people would have lived here.
Going into an office, working 50 hours.
People back then were just built different. That's why they were able to do what they did.
About 40 craftsmen work here from spring till fall. Another 30 employees take care of the administration.
It's a bit like an orchestra with many different instruments. Every craftsman is important. Everyone is needed every day to build this castle.
And anyone can join in, even me.
Every year 600 volunteers come along to help out. And today I'm one of them.
I can't show up dressed like this, of course. That's better. Now I'm ready for my first assignment in the quarry. Castles were generally built right near a quarry, so the distance that the heavy stones had to be transported would be as short as possible. This is hard labor, especially for me, obviously. But the stone cutters don't just randomly break up rocks here. They cut them into specific shapes and sizes. Tundra Schroven shows me how to do it.
So I just put it in the middle, and I want two equal blocks. Okay. So I just put it in the middle, and it's going to split in this direction. So we have these iron leaves that we're going to place against the sides, and it's going to hold the iron wedge. And it's the iron wedge who's going to split the stone.
With a few pointers, it's not all that hard.
That's it?
Now the stone blocks go to the stonemasons. one after another on wooden carts. The stonemasons have to get the blocks in shape. I have to get myself in shape with a couple of dry runs. Aline Meunier uses a wooden stencil to show me what the stone is supposed to look like when I'm done.
Lift the chisel a bit, just like that.
So if I imagine I need to work on thousands of stones here, it's just impossible. It's so exhausting, and you need so much patience here.
Woo!
Nowadays we use different tools because stuff needs to get done faster. And that's the only difference. Here I work on the stone with my hands, not with a machine. We've got the time for it, and the time to show and explain it to the children and adults. But the love for the stone is the same. I just express it differently here.
2 hours later, one stone block has been dressed.
Now we can mark this stone. It's done. I mark every stone with my own symbol, my mason's mark, as proof of my work. In the Middle Ages, we'd be paid for every single stone.
I mark my stone with a DW, of course, for Deutsche Welle.
Next year we'll use it in that tower. It'll go into the last row of stones. Now you've helped build it. Deutsche Welle will be represented in this castle forever.
Various guilds have set up shop around the site. It runs almost entirely autonomous. All the materials and tools are produced on site. The carpenters cut the wood into beams, tools and scaffolding.
Looking at people build feels like what we're supposed to be doing.
Even the baskets are woven on site. Pigments are made from earth and various rocks to mix the paints used on the walls and textiles. Wood from the surrounding forest is used to make the roof shingles. A blacksmith forges the nails, hinges and iron tools. The Guédelon construction site has turned into a tourist attraction. About 300,000 people visit annually. Revenues from admissions finance the project as a whole.
It's fascinating, and I admire the patience they muster in building the castle.
It's interesting to see how things are made the medieval way, with simple means. Today, everything's automated, and we've lost quite a lot of knowledge that way.
I found that pretty fascinating how it fits together from the small piece to end up being a large-scale product.
Now I head over to see the masons, but before the stones can be placed, they have to be hoisted up onto the tower. So I have to get into the tread wheel.
Okay.
This is how they lifted
It's
heavy
like a hamster in that thing.
loads in the Middle Ages. The Guédelon craftsmen have revived many long-forgotten techniques. Workers like Mike Monfront are here to learn how to use the methods and materials of the period, but not to imitate the way of life of the Middle Ages. Among the winners here is science. Historians gain a better idea of how certain work was done back then. In the Middle Ages, craftsmen were held in high regard. They were the ones who passed on the skills and knowledge.
I became a mason here just by chance. I was a graphic artist in Paris for 20 years. After watching a film about Guédelon, I said to myself, that's what I have to do. This is important. This is our cultural heritage. So from one day to the next, I decided to change professions. I slogged away here for 3 years, and now here I am, finishing this castle. What I'm doing here is for eternity.
Parts of the castle have already been completed. The residential chambers give some idea how the lord of the castle and his family and staff would have lived here. An end to the construction work is nowhere in sight. For the workers in Guédelon, the journey is the reward.
The castle belongs to us all. That's my message. Come and you can be stonemasons. You can see the beautiful roof timbering and the murals. We all feel the same thrill when we see something beautiful. And that beauty is not reserved for an elite alone. We're building this beauty with our hands, our heads, and our hearts.
I still got a bit of building to do with my hands, head and heart as well. I'm heading up to the heights and help to tile the roof on the chapel tower. With locally fired tiles, of course.
I don't know why anyone would choose not to use modern technology, but I'm really impressed by the people of Guédelon with their passion and enthusiasm for this project.
What do you think about the Guédelon Castle project? Is it genius or madness?
I personally think genius and mad.
Stones here. It's just.
I personally think genius and madness go hand in hand. You know, the people that we tend to think are mad are geniuses. So when you think different, you gotta think everything started with an idea that somebody thought was like crazy, right? Then when it's successful, then all of a sudden you're a genius. You know, but before that you're crazy, you're mad, it's not gonna work. Then it works, and you're a genius. Something that Craftsman said really hit me. He said, "What I'm doing here, what we're doing, this is gonna last for eternity." He is correct. Even if the worst type of luck was to happen, and somehow, say, a castle was to just crumble, it's still going to exist out there in the ethers. I once read a book. I forgot the book's name, but it was about energy signatures and how everything has an energy signature. You watching have an energy signature. And for example, if you're riding a bike, you pass that bike to somebody else, your energy signature is still on that bike, right? And sometimes that can bring negativity as well as positivity. So for example, someone may go into a house and be like, this is haunted, this feels haunted. But it's just the energy signature of the house. They may feel like there's a ghost and stuff is knocking over, or they just may feel a presence. But the whole time you just feeling the presence of the energy signature in the house, because if you ever studied anything about different dimensions, and everything's kind of recorded in the ethers, and something can create an energy signature so heavily that even it just can keep playing back that energy, and you can feel it to the point where people may feel like there's a ghost in here, and the whole time it's like I said, it's just that you feel the energy signature is so strong, so of something that may have happened, whether it was a murder or whatever. So when he said this is gonna last for eternity, it is that energy signature of them all coming together and putting all their energy, that's going to last for eternity. It's written, it's recorded, right? That's he knows what he's talking about. Even if he doesn't realize, there's different dimensions to what he's talking about. Shout out to the craftsmen, shout out to the blacksmith, shout out to the stonemason, shout out to everybody that played a part that plays a part day to day. And coming together, it just makes me think as humans, I feel like I feel like that's kind of somewhat of our purpose being here, is to learn to come together, regardless of background, and just work together. Because you ever see like a team, for example, when a team, when they shed blood, sweat, and tears together, they create a different type of respect and love for each other. So when you building together and you working together day to day, right? It's a certain respect you're gonna get for your fellow, human that you see shedding that blood, sweat, and tears and putting that passion in. And especially when you building. Reminds me of when I used to have to go to summer camp. And one year I went to summer camp, and it was the year before middle school. So it was the summer of going into 6th grade. And I knew one kid there from the past, but me and him, we were cool. His name was Zach. We didn't know anybody else. So we all had to go into a cabin, and it was about 6 of us in one cabin. Me and Zach, we were already popular because we went to the camp prior. But this was think The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. Kids from all over were going there. But me and Zach, long story short, we stuck together. We didn't really pay the other kids no mind. By the time it hit the middle of the summer, everybody was like this. We teared up. We went from not liking each other, a lot of us, to tearing up when it was time to go home. Woo! I feel it here. We was tearing up. We was, come here. Like, oh, I remember one kid. He was from a place called Norwich, and he was very, very like a nerdy guy, trying to get real cool. Like, he was the one. Like, we created this whole. And notice what I'm saying, keyword created. When we come together, this is before cell phones. So we created, I'm 31, so, I'm getting up there. But we created like a way to pass notes, but it was like through, like some net thing. Like, I don't even, like the string, it was like a roller coaster it was genius. But this kid from Norwich, he gave me his number, but I lost his number, never talked to him again. But, I mean, they became brothers. So when you see people come together like this, building, this is why I always kind of, and I got to give another shout out to First Doublet, because this is so synonymous with my channel, because I always talk about, this is a castle to me. Every time we build, this is a castle. I'm laying the bricks down, as the stone. Like, we all coming together as stonemasons and blacksmiths. We coming together on this channel, and we building, and that's how I look at it. So this is actually a really awesome video. It really is. The video I did last week, I think it was, with the Enchanted Forest. I seen people was asking if something was wrong with the sound. What happened there was copyrights. And YouTube has this new thing where now if you got copyrights, you can just press something and it'll erase the song so that it doesn't take down the video completely, or just completely block it. But the thing about that, if you go to that specific video, the original video in that link, you'll see the person didn't say anything. He was just walking through. He just had a little bit of sound in the background, so you didn't really miss nothing. So that's why I really didn't care to kind of erase, it was just some instrumental, but he was just walking around. But it wasn't like like he was documenting it verbally. He was documenting it visually, but not verbally. Like, he didn't verbally say anything. So it all worked out. Right? You guys didn't miss anything on that one. But with that being said, original link will be in the description. And I enjoyed this. Much love.